Hey, Sean here. If you have social anxiety, then you might wonder sometimes if your social anxiety is going to go away on its own. I remember myself, I wondered a lot if my social anxiety was going to last forever. Was it going to get better as I got older, or would it actually get worse with age? My worst nightmare, to be honest with you, is that I would be 70 years old and my social anxiety would be the same as it was when I was 17 or 18, and I would still have no friends. I still had never had a girlfriend. I still was nervous to speak up around people and uncomfortable just going to the store. So in this video, I'm going to share with you a few pointers, a few ideas which I've figured out that can answer this question for you. First of all, it's better if you don't look at normal people to figure out what's going to happen to you in your future if you have social anxiety. Let me explain. When I say normal people, by the way, I mean the people who you look at them in your class or at your work or in a store or wherever, and it seems like they can talk to people easily and effortlessly. They make socializing look enjoyable. They never have trouble speaking up. They never have trouble laughing and making jokes with people. They've had friends since they were really young, and they never really feel lonely because they know how to keep in contact and connect with people. And most normal people, it seems like they always have a girlfriend or boyfriend. If they break up with them a couple months later, they have a new girlfriend or boyfriend. Somehow they just find each other. So if you look at those types of normal people, they usually become more confident as they get older, especially from teenage years to around the age of 30. They usually become a lot more confident. And that's because teenagers are still not sure of their identity. One day they might have pink hair, the next day they might have black hair. They might have one clothing style, next year they have a totally different clothing style. They might get a tattoo, the next year they totally regret the tattoo and they get it removed. So a teenager is still playing around with different identities, trying to figure out what kind of career they want, what kind of friends they want, what they enjoy, which kind of makes them a bit awkward in general and unsure of themselves. However, someone who is 30 years old has probably had a few different relationships, and they might have found a partner romantically that they think they might spend the rest of their life with. Someone who's like 30 or 40, they've probably had a few different jobs, and they might be in a job that they really enjoy. Someone who's 30 or 40, they probably have different hobbies which they've found over many years, and now they realize that this is what I like to do, and so on and so forth. So someone who is 30, 40, 50, a normal person, they're usually more secure in life, and they also have experienced quite a bit of life. They might have moved to a few different cities, had a few different jobs, had different relationships, had different social circles, and because they've experienced many different tastes of life, it means that their comfort zone is greatly expanded. So the more that a normal person just lives life, they'll probably be experiencing a lot of different parts of life. Their life starts to expand and expand. Whereas someone who has social anxiety usually does the opposite. The number one symptom of people who have social anxiety is avoidance. You avoid social situations which make you uncomfortable or anxious, which for me, back when I had really bad social anxiety, pretty much any social situation and almost any person made me uncomfortable. So I would sit in my home and avoid going outside my house. I would avoid speaking up in class, which basically caused my life to become narrower and narrower as my comfort zone closes in around you. Now that I've sort of overcome social anxiety, I've actually made it a point to expose myself to a lot of new experiences. I recently went traveling in South America for 3.5 months. So I packed like a little backpack, and then I hopped from city to city. And every few days, I was in a totally new environment. I met totally new people every few days, which I feel caused my confidence to grow a lot because I experienced so many different situations in such a short period of time. And with this much practice, just meeting new people and being social, it was a natural result that my social skills and my ability to talk to people improved because I got so much new experience and practice. However, just getting exposure to people, just practicing, is also not enough. I know that I went to school for many, many years, like 10, 12, maybe more years in elementary and high school, where I was around people for many hours each day, and it didn't help. I somehow accidentally got a job at McDonald's. Even though I felt super nervous and awkward at the interview, I somehow got the job. I guess you don't need to be that social to flip burgers. But even though I was spending time at school and even at my part time job around people, my social anxiety didn't seem to be getting better automatically. And that's because just not avoiding people is not enough to overcome social anxiety. Because you also have unconscious automatic reactions when you're around people. So back when I had really bad social anxiety, if I was sitting on the bus and a girl who I thought was very attractive just sat down next to me, just the fact that she was there would make me start to feel very nervous and I get instant anxiety. So you have automatic reactions like your mind going blank, like feeling awkward around people, feeling nervous, which causes you to not talk much. It causes you to be quiet. It causes you to perform badly in social situations, which just makes you feel worse about yourself. And not only do you have these automatic reactions, you also have inner blocks. You have things like inferiority, shame, feeling worse than people, comparing yourself to other people, feeling insecure about your appearance, all these inner blocks, which also cause you to push people away and cause you to, stay quiet and not allow any type of connection to form, any type of friendship or relationship to form, even if you are meeting new people sometimes, and even if you are around people. And the last reason why I find social anxiety doesn't tend to get better as you age is because it's often a downward spiral where social anxiety makes you feel depressed. When you are around people, you feel depressed, which causes you to have bad energy, so other people don't really like you much. And because nobody really seems to like you, you find it hard to be outgoing around people. You become more negative in general because it feels like nobody seems to like you, and you do feel depressed a lot. And this just makes you feel more nervous and more anxious around people, which causes you to hide away from people more. So it tends to turn into a downward spiral. So that's basically a three-part answer to why I believe social anxiety doesn't go away on its own. People have social anxiety usually avoid people. They avoid new social situations, which causes your social skills to become worse over time because it's like a muscle that you don't use. It gets weaker. B, people have social anxiety have automatic reactions and inner blocks, which is what is causing you to feel social anxiety. So just going out there and practicing talking to people when you don't know what to say, when you feel super awkward and nervous and your face goes red and you sweat just being around people, just practicing isn't going to fix any of that. You need to figure out these inner automatic reactions and blocks as well. And number three, social anxiety can often be a combination of different problems like depression, feeling bad about yourself, and feeling anxious, being alone, which combines with feeling negative about yourself, and then you get negative about other people. You start to not like other people in general. It's all these interrelated problems which cause a downward spiral. Or if you think social anxiety is going to get better just because you might go to school for a few hours a day or you go to work without, untangling your inner psychology, without fixing and getting rid of the root causes of your social anxiety, then I believe it's not going to happen. Maybe it does happen for some people, but for me, the more common thing is when I look at forums from people who have social anxiety, there's people who are 30 years old, 40 years old, 50 years old, and they say they just feel even worse now that they're 40 or 50, because now they look back and they see all the time they've wasted not having friends, not being social, and when they meet someone new, they feel like they have something to hide. They feel like they have to now hide all of their past. Now, whatever age you are with social anxiety, um, it's never too late. I've gotten emails from people who are 50, 64 years old, and they say that for the first time in their life, they went to someone else's house to socialize with a group of people. So it's never too late to overcome your old past habits and patterns and conditioning. So if you're a younger person, maybe in your teens or 20s with social anxiety, realize that you're very lucky because you have an opportunity to overcome your social anxiety at basically the beginning of your adult life, and you have your whole life ahead of you that you can live in a more fulfilling, interesting, exciting way. You can have relationships with people, you can have friendships with people, instead of looking back when you're 70 and wishing you could have lived differently. Now, I've talked a lot about the problem in this video. I haven't really talked much about the solutions. The first solution to overcoming social anxiety is to ignore most of the common advice that you might hear. If you ask a normal person who finds it easy and enjoyable to talk to people, if you ask them for advice, they'll probably tell you things like be yourself, just fake it till you make it, pretend to be confident, maybe focus more on other people. Advice like that, common advice, it's not going to work for you. It might work for some normal person when they feel a bit nervous before a speech, but it's not going to work for someone who has real severe social anxiety or shyness, right? And I can understand why they wouldn't really relate to an experience they've never really had to deal with. But it's important for you to get the right information that can actually help you. So head on over to my website, which is shyness.socialanxiety.com, and sign up for the free 7-day email course on the key to overcoming social anxiety. Speaking from experience as someone who really did battle and struggle with very severe social anxiety. Trust me, even if you are stuck in this downward spiral where right now you do feel very depressed and bad about yourself and you really don't have any friends, you can get out of that. You can dig yourself out of the hole. A quote that I like, I don't know who said it, is, if you're going through hell, keep going. So head on over to my website, check out my other tips. And I'm Sean Cooper, the Shyness and Social Anxiety guy, and I'll talk to you again soon.